Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Jai Nitya Leela Bhravishtam Vishnupad Bhagavan Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur ki jai. Rupanuga Bhagya ki jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai. Jai Rupa Sanatana Bhatta Raghunath Shri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Das Raghunath Sad Goswami Prabhu ki jai. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sri Vasadi Shri Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Jai Shri Harinama Sankirtan ki jai. Nitai Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Okay.
Yesterday those counselors came.
Yeah, I know. But they didn't tell us they were coming.
Yeah, they were coming Tuesday.
Yeah.
They want to come suddenly.
Yeah. So welcome everyone to our weekly broadcast from the East London branch, Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mart. We are at the moment we're studying the seminal works, foundational works of our founder Acharya Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Goswami Maharaj, and we are learning about Mahaprabhu's Shikastakam from the 8 verses from his lotus mouth, and about his life. Srila Guru Maharaj's talks on these things, which has become the golden volcano of divine love, and which Srila Guru Maharaj loved this book very much. And the first part is about the life and teachings of Sri Chaitanya Dev, and the second part is about his precepts, which we find in the Shikastakam. So last week we read the verse Nayanam Galada Shrudaraya, etc. And this week, the next verse here, the title of this chapter is called This chapter is called Forever Without You. And the verse is Yugayitam Nimishena Chakshusha Pravrishayatim Tam Sunyayitam Jagat Sarvam Govinda Vidahename. O Govinda, without you, the world is empty. Tears are flooding my eyes like rain, and a moment seems like forever. So Srila Guru Maharaj's illumination on this verse. Sometimes this verse is translated, O Govinda, without you, I feel a moment to be 12 years or more. The word yuga is sometimes translated as 12 years. Some devotees say this is because Mahaprabhu experienced the most intense separation from Krishna in the mood of Radharani for 12 years. In the Sanskrit dictionary, it is said that one juga means 12 years. That is one conception. Another meaning is a millennium or an age. A juga can also mean an unlimited amount of time. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, one moment seems like an unlimited period of time, and my eyes are shedding tears like rain. The rainy season produces so many floods, and now it seems to me that my eyes are flooding. The visible is becoming invisible to me. I am so withdrawn from the present environment that I can't see anything. My mind feels so much internal attraction towards the center of the infinite that wherever I cast my glance, I see nothing. Everything appears vacant because I feel as if Govinda has withdrawn from me. This is called vipralamba, that intense feeling of separation from the Lord. And we saw in the person of Srila Guru Maharaj, especially we noticed this after the disappearance of Bhakti Vichar Jajava Maharaj. Jajava Maharaj would come to see Guru Maharaj every year and spend quite a portion of the year with Guru Maharaj in the mott in Navadvip. And after he passed away, Guru Maharaj we could hear Guru Maharaj in the night calling, "Oh, Jajava, Jajava," in the middle of the night. And he also said, "Now all my God brothers, they're one by one all disappearing, and I see only darkness." That was his feeling. Now I see only darkness. This is the nature of a Vaishnava. That Srila Guru Maharaj said, of course, when I first came, I'm thinking that Krishna is everything, and cultivating relationship with Krishna, that is everything. He said, but these devotees, Gaudiya Math devotees, they are all stressing a relationship with Guru and Vaishnava as being more substantial. He said, first of all, I was thinking, yes, that's for now. And then when later on my hankering for the direct connection with Krishna, that will come as a result of that. He said, but as I progress more in the service of Guru and Vaishnava, I've found that it is actually everything. The service of Guru and Vaishnava is everything. And without that, there is no meaning to the service of Krishna. There is no service to Krishna without Guru and Vaishnava. And we hear from Guru Maharaj that even in the spiritual realm, everyone there has their master or mistress that commands them. And the direct connection with Krishna, that is a secondary thing. But the satisfaction of our master, of our mistress, whoever that may be in the divine pastimes of Krishna, that is everything. In that world and in this world. And Guru Maharaj continues. Such a peculiar sort of feeling is within me. I have no interest in anything. All my interest is drawn towards Govinda, and to such a degree that I am a stranger to my present environment. I have nothing, no consciousness. It's gone somewhere else, towards the infinite. When there's a drought, all the rivers and lakes dry up. The water is drawn towards the gas world. Nowhere is a drop of water to be found. Something like that. All charm is withdrawn so extensively that everything is empty. My senses, my mind, and everything else has been drawn up, attracted by that all-attractive, all-charming, all-sweet personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, reality the beautiful. Sometimes it seems that the gap between union and separation is like so many millennia. A devotee thinks, I have lost the consciousness of meeting Krishna long, long ago. He has a faint remembrance. I had some union with Krishna, but I felt that so far behind, so far off, that it appears to be an unlimited gap of time. I once had a faint recollection, but now it is gone, perhaps forever. He feels such a great degree of disappointment and despair. This is the standard of the infinite world. Just as we measure the distance of the planets and stars by light years, here the transcendental temperament is being measured by such a standard. What audacity we have to deal with things so great and beyond our jurisdiction. At first the devotee thought, if I'm raised to that standard of service, my heart will be fulfilled. My thirst will be quenched, and I will feel some ease and satisfaction within me. But the development of his devotion took him to an unexpected plane of life. It is the nature of divine love that when a drop of that medicine is given to a hankering patient, the patient thinks he is cured. but he is taken into a dangerous position. He thinks, seeing the devotees shedding tears incessantly, the hairs of their bodies standing on end, their voices choked up while chanting the name of Krishna, I was charmed. Those symptoms attracted me, and I thought that if I could attain this, I would feel real satisfaction. But upon attaining that plane, what do I find? Just the opposite. Coming into real connection with the infinite, he feels hopeless. He thinks there is no limit to progress. Rather, as much as I come in intimate connection with the infinite, I feel hopeless. The more we advance, the more we find it unlimited. And finding it unlimited, we become hopeless, but we can't turn back. There's no possibility of retracting our steps. We can only go ahead. This is the spirit of a genuine devotee. Finding the infinite characteristic of our prospect, we can't leave. We become hopeless, thinking the highest kind of nectar is just before me, but I can't taste it. I'm unable to touch it or get it in my fist. Still, its charm is so great that I can't retreat from this entanglement. And without that, a small span of time seems like millions of years. The devotee thinks, oh, long, long ages have passed away. Still I am in want. I am trying to get it, but I can't get it. And time is passing. Time is also infinite. So many rivers of tears take birth from my eyes. Tears profusely run down from my eyes over my body, but I don't find the position of success within my reach. My mind is fully vacant. I can't find any trace of my future. I have no charm, no attraction for anything else that might seem to console this diseased body. I find no possibility of solace from any other quarter. All alternatives have been eliminated. I am fully in the clutches of Krishna consciousness and love of Krishna. If there is anyone who can come to my relief, please help me. I am lost, I am helpless. If there is anyone who can help me, please come to my rescue. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that when we are deeply situated in love of Krishna, we can't leave it. But our thirst increases, and so we feel no satisfaction. We are in the midst of such an apparently horrible position. The hankering for Krishna which awakens in one's mind takes this direction. When a devotee really comes in connection with Krishna, his position will be all eliminating and all exclusive. His complete concentration will be on Krishna. In this verse, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu describes how a devotee goes further, awakens a higher conception of Krishna, and then seeing Krishna just before him, but not getting him, feels this kind of separation. The more he progresses, the more he finds himself in this position of hopelessness. The highest advice of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu helps us adjust ourselves to this intense mood of separation. He tells us you are going to be lost in Krishna consciousness. And what will be your position? You are a drop, and you will be thrown into the ocean of divine love. Wow. I don't know what to say about that, really.
You mentioned like the Maharaj is like pining for his godbrothers. So like Guru Maharaj is on a very particular level. But for someone like myself, how do you do we how do we understand that for ourselves? Because like sometimes we're not free from all these sensual attachments and things. And even when we talk with our godbrothers, we tend to talk about just frivolous, mundane things at times. So, can you give me some kind of clarity on that?
I think you already have understood that Guru Maharaj is a Vaishnava of a particular kind, and we are not that. So he's feeling separation from his godbrothers. As Gadadhar Pandit said, there's nothing unbearable, no pain unbearable in this world except for the separation of devotees. That's the most unbearable pain. But that's to a substantial devotee. So then if we want that kind of feeling within us, then we have to stop all the other stuff, isn't it? We have to, who is it prays? I don't remember the devotee, but he prays, as much as I am attached now to sense gratification, as much as I love that, please let me love your lotus feet as much as I love that. So, then that's as much as we can do, really. We know that we're fully enmeshed in this Maya world. And now and again we get a little glimpse of what it might be to be in Krishna consciousness. But that's our aspiration. So then we have to pray for that to come to us. And remember that Krishna wants us to have that. As Chaitanya Dev, he came to distribute that to everybody. We are not just being cast into this material world to suffer or to be punished eternally nitya bada soul. That's what it actually means. We are nitya bada. That means eternally conditioned. We're eternally conditioned by this material world. But we weren't made for that. We weren't made for that. That's a false thing. That's not really who we are. It's not really what will give us satisfaction. We just have to wake up to the fact that none of these things will give us satisfaction in this material world. And if we can see that, if we can appreciate that even a little bit, then we won't waste any time. Just recently I was listening to a talk of Srila Prabhupada, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj, and he said, so many lives we've tried to find satisfaction without Krishna in this world. And, then the subtext of that is like, how's that working out for everybody? And then he says, but my earnest request to all of you is just try and give this one life for Krishna. Try and give this life to Krishna. We've had so many lives in the past and so many lives in the future, almost certainly. But if we try to give this one life to Krishna, then what's the loss? There's no loss. We are thinking that we'll lose something. What about this that I like so much? What about that I like so much? But what are those things that we like so much in this material world? Really, what is it? There's nothing, isn't it? All of the things that we're attached to in this world, we've tasted and tried them again and again and again and again, lifetime after lifetime after lifetime. And we're so stupid that we still think this time it's going to be different. This time, we'll get the satisfaction that we're looking for. Or we might think, it's as good as I'm going to get in this life, so just be satisfied with that, whatever that is. But how can we be satisfied with that? Because we're not made for that. We're not made for that at all. That's why they used to do that drama in ISKCON when we joined there, Mr. Fish. The Mr. Fish story, right? So he comes out of the water and tries to make his way in the world. And he gets like big business and lots of money and a big car and supermodel girlfriend and, like everything that anyone would consider to be, something to aspire for in this world. But really, none of it gives him any satisfaction. It just pulls him down to more and more suffering. And in the end, the only thing that satisfies him is when he re-enters into the into the ocean, which is where he's meant to be. Constitutionally, a fish is meant to live in the ocean and won't be satisfied outside of that. Impossible. So Srila Guru Maharaj says that. Impossible that we will be satisfied with anything of this material world. Let's see if we got this. When I made this pamphlet, I quoted Guru Maharaj at the beginning of it. Why is happiness eluding us? No matter how much we get, we always hanker for more. Such is the nature of every one of us in all fields and walks of life. How then could finite material objects and flickering bodily or intellectual pleasures satiate our infinite hankerings? For as long as we go on searching for happiness within the material plane, our efforts and endeavors are destined to be irrevocably frustrated. Due to their natural limitations, material objects and goals simply cannot satisfy our limitless hankering. Only by seeking out beauty and love of the infinite spiritual realm can we hope to be successful in our common quest of lasting happiness. So that sums it up, really. We have to be convinced about that. That's the thing, we're still thinking that we're going to find satisfaction in, home and friends and society and family and and we won't. It's all part of the illusion. Srila Guru Maharaj even went so far as to say it's all dacoity. That means, like thievery. Everything that you think belongs to you, that is part of who you are and is your property and your domain, it's all thievery, because it's not. It's all belongs to him. It belongs to Krishna. So we're never going to be satisfied with those things. And then it means we have to become a little bit introspective as to what it is that we want in our life. We shouldn't just be satisfied with, 3 square meals and a place to sleep. And, what was it there now? One song by Joni Mitchell, she says, there must be more to living than a mortgage and a lawn to mow. That's what everybody thinks life is about, But why do we think that? Actually, there's not much that we need in this material world. Really, just a little food in our belly and a place to shelter from the rain and somewhere to 6 feet to lie down and sleep at night. We don't need much more than that, really. That's why, all of our masters, they advocate simple living and high thinking. Now, the more we can simplify our life, the better. It's difficult to live a simple life in this hyper-complicated world that we live in now. Everybody has to have, 40 different kinds of internet devices and, so many things that people think that they have to have. When, remember when we were kids, there was 3 channels on the television, and then it weren't even on all day. They're just on for a few hours every day, right? You'd get something at lunchtime for an hour or 2 hours, and then something in the afternoon, and from about 4 o'clock up until about 10 p.m. Then you get that dot. That was it. Now you've got 200, 300 channels, and you still can't find anything worth watching. It's all, it's all rubbish. Just 200 channels of rubbish instead of 3 channels of rubbish. In fact, when we had those 3 channels, actually the quality was better than it is today. Now anything is up for game. As entertainment goes as entertainment, doesn't it? I think it was a Dutch film company that first made that program, the Big Brother program. where these people go in the house and you see them all fighting with each other and all that. And it was hugely popular. I can't understand why these vacuous people doing vacuous things. The only time I would tune in to watch that if they were going to gas them all on live television. That would be worth watching. But these people are completely feckless, don't do anything to contribute to society in any positive way. And everyone wants to see what they are saying, what they're doing, and all of that. Anyway, that same company, right, they also proposed another format for entertainment. And this is true, that somebody who needed like an organ transplant, that they would get one person who's the donor, and then they have like, I don't know, 10 people or something who all want that organ from this person. And the whole TV show is about them trying to convince this person to give them their organ, you know. And they think this is entertainment. That's horrific, isn't it? It's horrible. Or there's this other one they call The Swan. I don't know if you've seen this one. Somebody mentioned it to me, so I had a look one day. And basically you've got these two women who've let themselves go really badly. They're like maybe in their 30s, maybe in their 40s. They were once quite attractive, but now they've completely let themselves go. They look a complete mess. And they've lost like the will to live, more or less. So they take up these two people and they give them all these makeovers, right? They give them an exercise regime, a diet regime. They do plastic surgery on them, you know, like nips and tucks and new teeth and new hair and everything. And then right at the end, one of them gets like, no, it's not you, it's the other one. And they're the swan, right? During this time, they're not allowed to look at themselves in the mirror. They're not allowed to, you know, all of this. And then they have to reveal finally at the end when the ugly duckling becomes the swan, and they come out, they see themselves in the mirror, and they're, oh my God, it's not me. And all the family come out and the friends come. It's horrible, horrible. Anyway, I don't know why I'm talking about all that, but just that, you know, everybody's so caught up in this, like, phantasmagoria. As Guru Maharaj would say, wild goose chasing, running after things that aren't completely unimportant things, making them important in our lives. So, by good fortune, we have some chance to do something different to that, to see through that veil of misconception. And, you know, actually it's not much different to when Mahaprabhu came today, when it was then. You know, we hear that in, you know, Navadvip, which was considered like the Oxford of India at that time. If you want to be recognized as a pandit, a scholar, or any like that, you know, then you have to get your certificate in Navadvip. And all the like the best schools were there in Navadvip. And because of that, the city became prosperous. All the people became prosperous that lived there. And they had so much wealth, they didn't know what to do with it. So what did they do? They used to spend like so much money on the marriage of dogs and cats. They'd get 2 cats or 2 dogs, or I don't know if they mix and match, I don't know, but somehow or another. And they make...
in another dream.
Yeah, and they would marry cats to each other or dogs to each other, and they'd have a whole like ceremony, big lavish spending, you know, like all kinds of ridiculous things like that.
How do they get them to say I do?
I don't know. And you know, then and Advaita Acharya and the other Vaishnavas of that time, Srivas Pandit and others, when they would see people using their wealth for this, they would weep to see that they're actually wasting so much time. Just like we heard that Srila Prabhupada, when he would go on his morning walk sometimes, you know, that they'd go near the golf club, and these people are out there on the golf course, and Prabhupada would cry to see that they're wasting their lives playing golf, you know. And he would just cry that, they have this valuable human form of life and they're wasting their time with this. And I can understand that. George Bernard Shaw, you know, the Irish playwright, he said, golf is a nice walk in the country, spoiled. So, you know, anyway, yeah, so, and it's not so different to how it was then. Here in the UK, and especially in America, like in California, in that, you know, in Los Angeles, Hollywood, all these things, all these places, they do that too. They have, and here too, they have like pet boutiques that you can go and have your, like a beauty parlor for your cat or your dog or whatever it may be, you know, and that's like the fashion. These fashionable girls carrying a little dog in their handbag where they go everywhere, you know, like. So, I used to work with a guy like that. He had these two dogs, and he used to dress them up, and you know, like it's Christmas time, so they'd have little Christmas uniforms with little hat and everything. Take photographs of them, and you know, and you just think, boy, you need your head shutting in a door. So, this is because people have more money than they know what to do with. So they spend it on frivolous things. And all kinds of frivolous things. And, you know, the television advertising these things all the time. Go here, go there, do this, do that. All just for entertainment. Distraction. Now there's endless streams of distraction for everybody. You just, with your phone in your pocket, you can tune into any nonsense you want to, anything you can. One of my friends from America, he used to say to me, anything you can think of is someone's idea of a good time. And really that's true, even the most debased things that you can conceive, and probably things you can't even conceive. Somebody's out there pursuing that, thinking this is worthwhile, something good to do, some fun. We need to have some fun. My kids would say to me, oh, I'm really bored, Dad, I'm really bored. Oh, yeah, it's good to be bored. It's good. It helps us to be creative, to be bored, you know. Now there's no reason to be bored at all. You can just be like 24 hours a day watching some rubbish on your telephone. Or
FIFA started from today.
What's that?
The full World Cup.
Oh, okay. There you go. Another thing to do, to, you know, divert us from what we're meant to do in our real life. Okay, I don't want to sound like a complete killjoy, you know, but there are more important things for us to do with our time. And if we can utilize our time in the association of devotees, and if we feel that what they have to offer to us is something valuable, then in answer to Darkesh Prabhu's question, naturally you'll feel, when those devotees are no longer around, you're going to feel some separation from them. That's only natural. Someone who's, you know, substantially given you some help in your life, some companionship, some support, all of these things. Naturally you'll feel some separation.
In a book you was reading about Guru Maharaj and Jajavam Maharaj.
Yeah, not from the book, but mentioned from there, yeah.
So, is it only for sannyasi or brahmachari?
No, of course not, no. Can be anyone. It can be anyone. But of Guru Maharaj's...
for grahastha, because, you know, you want to please your family.
Yes. But, I mean, of Guru Maharaj's godbrothers, Jajavam Maharaj was probably his closest friend. And it came as a great painful blow to Guru Maharaj when he passed away. But and not just Jajavam Maharaj, other godbrothers, but particularly Jajavam Maharaj. But yeah, I mean, naturally we feel separation and pain from those who we love in our life when we're separated from them. If, you know, when they die, or, you know, when some tragedy happens or like that. But still, and if they're Vaishnava, then there's no harm in that. But to be attached to those who are in illusion, we shouldn't mourn for their company. We should actually mourn for the fact that they couldn't awaken to their real nature in this lifetime. That we feel some pain. If they're our family member or friend or whatever, that they couldn't actually understand the purpose of life, and their life is finished, and their destination is unknown. Then we can feel some pain for that. But actually to feel some separation, we know that. We know what that feels like. We lost Srila Guru Maharaj. We know the pain of that. We lost Srila Gurudev. We know the pain of that. And we can, everyone can say, oh yes, he lives with us in his instruction and all of this. Yeah, that's true. But there's no substitution for being able to sit at the feet of your master and get that connection, What can I do to please you, Gurudev? What can I do? So then we have to channel our inner wealth that we've had. And especially we can say, with Srila Guru Maharaj, we had like 6 years association with him, most of us, that were his disciples. But with Srila Gurudev, Srila Govinda Maharaj, over 25 years association. The disciples of Swami Maharaj Prabhupada didn't have that. The disciples of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur didn't have that. The disciples of Guru Maharaj didn't have that. But Srila Govinda Maharaj, our association with him, over 25 years. Then I would say that during that time we should have learned something, isn't it? Something that we can feel benefited us in our life. And I can say, although I'm fallen soul, no doubt, that every day I feel the pain of separation from Srila Gurudev. I do. I feel that. And when I'm conscious enough to think about that, mostly we're just going on with our lives and doing everything day to day. And the nature of this material world is that time kind of heals that. But that we don't see that in the example of the substantial devotees. Separation makes their attachment to the divine even greater. The cowherd girls of Vrindavan, they were separated from Krishna for 100 years. After he left Vrindavan, they didn't have his company again for 100 years. But they never thought like, oh yeah, I've forgotten all about him, 100 years, oh yeah, we've moved on, people say, don't they? Oh yeah, that was a long time ago, we moved on since then. They didn't move on. It just made their...
Good point of a Gurudev was he used to come here every year. Saying, my devotee can't come, I come to you.
Yes, that's his nature.
That was a good point.
But the cowherd girls the residents of Vrindavan, they never felt like we're over Krishna, he's gone, let's get on with our life. They never felt like that. Every moment was a burning pain in their heart in separation from Krishna. Always thinking that tomorrow maybe he'll return. Whenever they see some chariot coming into Vrindavan, they think, oh, is that Krishna coming? Is that like anything? All the time they're thinking like that. That's real vipralamba. It's the highest thing. And it's a fact that we can't compare ourselves to the substantial devotees like Srila Guru Maharaj. What kind of pain of separation he's feeling, we can't fathom it. We can't understand it, but we can appreciate that it is real. That it's not just some rote thing, not just something that you're meant to do as a devotee or meant to exhibit as a devotee. We know it's like real to him. It's real and concrete and more substantial than anything that we gain or lose in this material world. That's the reality.
I think we are living in a material world, and their level of plane was quite different, so to reach to that level is not possible. Like give all your life for staying.
Yes,
We try, yes.
it's not possible by our own strength. It's impossible. By our own endeavor, it's impossible. But we are queuing up at the door of grace. That we don't want the Lord to look at our qualification or disqualification. Certainly, we don't want Him to look at our disqualification, and and to try and show off our qualifications in front of Him. Well, that's just foolishness, All the things that I did, all the service I did, all the whatever it is, it's nothing. It's really nothing, Then, for any of us, if we are honest, so we have to go to another door, because if we go to the door of qualification, we get the stamp, rejected. We're rejected from that door. No, sorry, it's not sufficient. Whatever you do will be insufficient. But if you go to that other door, the door of grace, and also if you think about it, like in a metaphorical way, right? That there's the door of qualification, and you have to go there with your head held high, and you're going to get panned down and rejected from that. But the door of grace, you can only get there on your knees. It's much lower bar. You have to go on your knees. And there we see that Krishna in the form of Sri Chaitanya Dev, He's waiting to embrace every one of us. In fact, it's His door. He's like chiseled that out to allow us entrance in that door of grace, the gateway of grace. And you only need to sincerely want that. But that's the problem, isn't it? That we're not sure if we want that. We're always thinking maybe there's still something that I can enjoy in this material world before that, or some responsibility that I have in this material world before I can go there, before I can do that. And when I'm free of all those responsibilities, then I can come to Krishna and, ask for Him to take me. The devotees used to say to us, yes, you'll just wait until you're old and decrepit and your body can't enjoy life anymore, and then you throw your useless body in front of Krishna and say, now please utilize me, But what about when you were fit and healthy and young and strong? Why didn't you use that time for the service of Krishna? Then Krishna was far away from our thought. Then just fulfilling our own desires was the foremost thing in our life, and our body would let us do that, and we could enjoy that, we could do so many things. And now we can't do, most of us, I can say for myself, the things that I was able to do before, I can't do it anymore. And that makes life difficult, even in devotional service. When Gurudev was here, we would try to serve, sometimes like 24 hours a day. We couldn't even find time to sleep. I remember Bhakti Lalita saying to me, did you sleep? No, I didn't sleep today. And she says, oh, you need to get some sleep. And I proudly used to say, we can sleep when we're dead. But now I can't sleep just because of my body won't allow me to sleep. But now metaphorically, you can say, now I dream about sleep. But, okay. But then here we are. We are who we are, where we are, warts and all, whatever our failings may be, whatever our, disqualification may be, like shining out like a neon light. When you look at myself, you think, oh my gosh, how unqualified is he? But we don't have any other choice. You have to come to that door of grace and ask the Lord, do you please accept me? You please hear my prayer and make me what you want me to be. Not what I think I should be or what I want to be. That's what we do in this material world. We just try and make so many arrangements so we can live comfortably and conveniently. And we think that that's what we need to do. Even as devotees, we're thinking like that sometimes, if I can just do this and do that, and then I can, I'll have some place, I can do my bhajan, I can do this, I can do that. We used to have one devotee who lived here. I won't say his name, but I'm sure you all know who he is when I, say. But he used to live here, and then one day, and he would serve. Well, he did a lot of service while he was here, but he had some bad habits and some difficulty, and then somehow he was offered a flat somewhere, by some charity group or something. They offered him a flat because of his problems that he had. And he said, I'm going to go and live in this flat. I said, why do you want to do that, Guru? You can live this is your Guru's temple, you can live here, there's no need for you to. So, I need my own space where I can read the Gita by myself and do my japa by myself and do this and do he'd made all these reasons why he needed all those things in his mind and was telling that. But the truth is, once he got that place, he didn't do any of those things. He just used his time for Maya. And but that's what we think. We think we don't have faith enough in the Lord to say, you just arrange whatever you need to arrange for me, and I'll be satisfied with that. That requires faith. We were talking about that Professor Sanyal a few weeks ago. Nishikanta Sanyal, Narayan Das Adhikari, his name was, and he was a highly qualified teacher. I think he was like the dean of Lucknow University or something, so very high prestigious position in the education world in India at that time, with big salary, and he had a family and children and everything. And Guru Maharaj told us that whenever he got his paycheck, he used to give the whole thing to Saraswati Thakur. And if Saraswati Thakur would give him some money for his maintenance and for his family and everything, he accepted that as prasadam and lived on that. And Guru Maharaj said this is the ideal example of a surrendered grihastha devotee, that they give everything to the Lord. They're not keeping anything for themselves. And then whatever his guru would give him, and he never made any, whatever came in his hand, he accepted that, and he didn't say, well, I'm going to need a bit more this month, Gurudev, because I got this bill or that bill. No. Whatever Saraswati Thakur gave him, he accepted that and lived with that. And that means he's just living on prasadam. He's taking that as the Lord's prasadam and living on that. Then that's perfect. That's perfect. Srila Guru Maharaj said about Professor Sanyal that, he said that he wouldn't do anything unless he was ordered by a Vaishnava to do it. So they're all going, they're going to Vrindavan on the train from Howrah. And all the devotees, they're going for parikram with Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. So they all climb on the train, and the train's about to leave, and Professor Sanyal, he's just standing on the platform. They're saying, Prabhu, come on, what's going on? And he said, no, I've not had any instruction from the Vaishnava. Then, and without that, I will not do anything. Then one of the senior Vaishnavas had to come and say, Maharaj, Prabhu, please come on the train and come with us to Vrindavan. And he'd get on the train. And Guru Maharaj also said that one night that they were sharing a room together, and one night he said, in the morning I could see he's very distressed. And I said, what happened, Prabhu, what happened? He said, I felt so much weakness in the night that I thought I'm going to die. Jai Guru. He said, I really thought I'm going to die. And Guru Maharaj said, why didn't you wake me? And he said, I didn't want to disturb you. I didn't want to. And Guru Maharaj said, I went to Saraswati Thakur and I said to him, what is this? That, because he doesn't want to make any disturbance to a Vaishnava, he may die, and just for the sake of I needed some help, a glass of water, or whatever it might have been, some medicine or anything. said this was Professor Sanyal's nature, but Guru Maharaj said, I didn't appreciate that so much, He said, and when I told Saraswati Thakur like chastised him and said, no, your body is not your body. It belongs to me, and you have to maintain that. And therefore, if you need something, you disturb the devotee. Rather than just lying and dying, you say, I need this, I need that, like if they need to bring the doctor or, whatever it is. Because your body doesn't belong to you, it belongs to me. It is for my service. Saraswati Thakur chastised him like that. So, this is... But we can learn from that kind of devotion. We don't see anybody who does anything like that nowadays. Everyone's thinking that whatever is theirs is their property. And that they can, with their property, they can help the temple or they can help the devotees, like to give some benediction to them by giving some of their money to them or something. But actually, it's not true. It is what is ours is the property of our Guru and property of Krishna. And we should always think like that. Saraswati Thakur wrote that in a poem. He wrote that all wealth is the property of Narayan, because wealth means Lakshmi. Then Lakshmi is the property of Narayan. All wealth is the property of Narayan. And all women are property of Krishna. He is the ultimate lover of all women. And all name and fame, Pratishta, that is the property of Guru Vaishnava, of Sri Gurudev. So everything, if we try to make our life in this channel and understand that, not just say that, but to understand that in reality, then we may get some idea about what our prospect is. But as long as we're all holding on to our cloth so as not to be exposed, like Draupadi. When we're to be disrobed, means, you can say allegorically, it means that we'll be exposed. We'll be exposed. Everyone will see, oh, what a fraud I am. They're worried about that. Now everyone thinking I'm such a good devotee, and I'm holding on to that glamour, that kind of persona that I'm projecting to everybody. But if I actually throw up my arms and just let that all fall, then my fear is everyone will see me for who I am. And that's scary. And that was Draupadi. But finally she just let go and raised her arms and called to Krishna. Hey, Krishna. Hey, Gopijana Vallabha. And Krishna had to come to her. This is surrender. Sharanagati. So, Guru Maharaj said we have to cultivate that by discussing that every day. And Srila Govinda Maharaj says, Prapanna Jivanamritam is the holy scripture that came from Guru Maharaj's pen. Thank you, Prabhu. Then, and he said, and our devotees should read that every day. Like Gita, everyone should read that every day. Because we aren't surrendered to Krishna. But we need to learn how to be surrendered to Krishna. And we are singing that, every day when we're singing that song. We're singing Sharanilam, Sharanilam, hey. I'm surrendered to you, but it's just words. It's not real. We're not really surrendered. If we were really surrendered, what are we doing with our lives? So, we want that. That's our ideal, to try to surrender. And yes, you have to cultivate that. But surrender can come in a moment also. Can come in a moment if you actually understand what it means and how imperative it is. Then it can come in a moment. And it's not just like once, it's all the time. Surrender today and tomorrow I'm back to my naughtiness, doing everything, other than Krishna's service. Now, every day we have to reaffirm our faith and reaffirm our commitment to serve Krishna. Srila Govinda Maharaj used to say, many times I heard him when he's giving Harinam to some new devotees, he would say, it is my expectation that from today you will serve Lord Krishna every day. No, not just like, here's your beads and see you later, pop round next time you're in town. No. Every day you'll try to serve Krishna. Every day you will try to honor the Guru and Vaishnava. Every day we will try to surrender ourselves a little bit more. A little bit more. Just 1%. If we can try that today 1% more, I'll give myself 1% more for the service of Hari, Guru and Vaishnava. Doesn't seem like much, right? But after a year, that should be 365% more surrender to Krishna. And we know, Maya's incredibly strong and this material world is incredibly convincing. And we're thinking, that if we don't make some endeavor that, we'll be in trouble. But that's not what Krishna says. Krishna says, whatever you think you need to do in this world, you can just abandon that if you surrender to me. There's nothing you need to do in this world except surrender to me. And when he says, don't fear the reaction for that, it doesn't just mean like what other people will think about you or, all the rest of it. It means that you're afraid that if I give myself to Krishna, I won't be able to clothe myself or feed myself or, put a roof over my head or look after my children or this or that or whatever. We're fearful. Because we think that that's up to us. That, that's all dependent on my own endeavor to look after my family, to pay the bills, to do this, to do that. But Krishna's saying, no, don't worry about that. Any of that, I'll protect you. Do we believe it or not? That's the question. Do we believe Krishna when he says that? That if you surrender to me, I'll take care of everything. Guru Maharaj has given a verse in Prapanna Jivanamritam which says, if you have an animal, like a horse or a cow or a dog, when you sell it to somebody else, you don't need to worry about who's going to feed it. It's not your responsibility anymore. So similarly, when we surrender to Krishna, when we really give ourselves to Krishna, then all of those things, like how we're going to clothe ourselves, how we're going to feed ourselves, where we're going to live, that's not your problem anymore. You've given all that to Krishna. He'll arrange everything. And in a subsequent verse, then he says, and if my devotees, they don't get anything, then happily they continue. And if a feast comes, they happily take that as the Lord's mercy. And if means that there's nothing to eat and you have to fast, also take that as Krishna's mercy. But happily just carry on chanting the holy name of the Lord. It is possible to live like that. It seems incredible that anyone could do that. But that's what it means, actually, Sharanagati. You don't need to make all these arrangements. Krishna will make all arrangements for you. And really, he does. He does do that. Sometimes he tests us. Now, do you believe it or not, Now, when you don't know where the money's coming from. There's that example of, his name is Arjuna Charja. And he used to go every day, he was a Brahmin, and he would go every day to beg alms. And whatever he got, he lived on that. And but one day, maybe 2-3 days, nothing coming to him. No money, no one's giving anything, no money, no vegetables, no anything. And he went back to his wife and he said, oh, Krishna not giving anything to us, Then what shall we do? And he's saying, I'll have to try and make some other arrangement if Krishna will not provide for us. And so off he went, and then later that day, and his wife says to him, no, Krishna will provide, don't worry. Krishna says, whatever my devotees have, I maintain that. Whatever they lack, I provide it. So, we should have faith in that, but something different. Anyway, then that evening he came back, and also with nothing in his hand, but he came back, And he came and he saw the larder was full. There was so much food, so much grain, so much everything was there. And he said, "Oh, what happened?" And his wife said, "Oh, while you were out, these two boys came. Beautiful boy, one very dark, one very fair. And they came with so many things, rice and dal and vegetables and so. And when I asked them who they were, they said, we are your husband's disciples." And she said, "Oh, I didn't know he had any disciples." They said, "Yes, we've come, and we've been begging alms on his behalf, and here is the." And then he could understand. Oh, from her description, it was Krishna himself. Krishna and Balaram themselves came and gave everything to prove that statement was true, that Krishna will take care of everything for you. And I've seen that also in my own life so many times. Maybe not quite on that level, but that's why sometimes I think of Krishna as the Lord of the 11th hour. Just when everything seems hopeless, just when everything seems that there's no, nothing is going to become, to take us from the peril that we're in, suddenly Krishna shows up and everything becomes harmonized. The Lord of the 11th hour. Because Krishna's real, He's not just an idea in a book. He's real. He's not just, a statue standing on the altar. He's real. He'll give you what you want. Not necessarily what you want, but at least what you need. And we should have faith in that Krishna will provide for us. And, no doubt, sometimes we need to struggle a little bit in life. But, there are many examples in the scripture. But of course our surrender needs to be real, not just, not just blasé about everything, but we should have some real feeling in our heart for Krishna and the service of Krishna and his devotees. If we have some real feeling for that, then Krishna will give whatever we require. And sometimes more. But sometimes he makes us some suffering to bring us closer to him. Guru Maharaj told us about one devotee of the Ramanuja Sampradaya. Can't remember his name now. Maybe it'll come to me. But anyway, he told us that he was a pujari at the Sri Rangam, the temple of Rangana. And he was the pujari there. And one day, two prostitutes came to the temple on pilgrimage. They came to see Thakur and everything, Then, although it's, degraded profession, they were devotees. That was just by circumstance. That's how they made their money. Anyhow, so they came there, and one Vishnu something, I forget now. It's kind of coming in my mind, the name of that devotee. Anyhow, so when he came, he gave some attention to those girls, and one of them, she became kind of a bit besotted by him. He was a very handsome young man, and she resolved in her mind, I'm going to make that brahmachari mine. And so she stayed there, under the pretext of doing service there. She wanted to do some service, and that she was engaged in the service, and so maybe some cleaning or whatever it was, and at the same time, she's giving some attention to him, fluttering her eyes at him, and he's a simple-hearted devotee, and soon he succumbed to her charms, and as a result, he ended up leaving his service in the temple and marrying this girl. So anyhow, but Guru Maharaj said, he's this very simple-hearted Brahmin boy, and she was used to, some kind of more luxurious, exciting, entertaining life. And he couldn't really give satisfaction to her in that way. So then, after some time, she got bored with him. And so she told him, you know, I think I'm going to just go back to my old profession. And if you want to enjoy with me, you'll have to pay like everybody else. But he was so besotted with her, he thought, okay, yeah, that's all right. I'll work hard. I'll get the money. You don't need to, go to your profession, and I'll pay to be with you. Because when I was a teenager, then at school there was one of my classmates. I kind of became enamored by his sister. She was a bit older. So one day I worked up the courage and I said, will you be my girlfriend? And I take you out, She said, yeah, okay, I'll be your girlfriend, but you have to buy me a box of chocolates. So, okay. So I, broke open my piggy bank and I bought her a box of chocolates. So, then we were going out together, and then after like maybe a week or 2 weeks, she's like lost her interest in me, because I'm just a boring guy. So, and then I said, whenever I would call for her, she'd not be there, or make some excuse. Should we go out? No, and then she'd just make some excuse. And finally, I said, like, what happened? Aren't you my girlfriend anymore? And she said, no, the chocolates run out. You can buy me some more chocolates. We can negotiate. So, oh no. Anyway, that was the end of that relationship. But anyway, so this is, I think his name is Vishnu Jasha. I think that's what the name of this devotee that Guru Maharaj was telling us. So she's also telling him, the chocolates are run out now. If you want to enjoy with me, be with me, you have to pay like everybody else. And he tried, but Guru Maharaj said, but he was a devotee, so he wasn't any good at making money. But he's besides himself. Like, he wants to be with her so much. He's so enamored with her that he doesn't know what to do. Then by his Lord Ranganath back in the temple, he can understand that his devotee is suffering because of this. So in the puja, every day there was one like big water pot made of gold, and a very valuable gold pot. And by his mystic power, Ranganath, he transferred that gold pot to Vishnu Jasha's house. And so he woke up in the morning, and in the corner he sees this pot there. He's like, oh, I recognize that pot. But by the influence of Jogamaya, he's thinking, oh, how come I didn't see that before? And I know that pot, it must belong to me, and it's worth a lot, So he went and took it to the goldsmith or whatever, got it weighed, and he got some cash for it, so he could enjoy with his girl again. Then, meanwhile, back at the temple, then the pujaris at the temple, they realize, oh, Ranganath's gold water pot is missing. Somebody must have stolen it. So they call the police come, they start an investigation, and finally they find this pot in the goldsmith shop now. And when they come to him, they ask the goldsmith, where did you get this pot? And the goldsmith says, oh, the Vishnu Jasha, he bought it and sold it to me. So then they go and they arrest Vishnu Jasha. They think, yeah, that all fits. He used to be the pujari here. He'd know how to get access to it. He would know, but it's obviously he's the thief. So they came and they arrested him, and they put him in the lockup. And the next day he's going to appear before the judge. But that night, the Lord Ranganath appeared to the judge in his dream and said, oh, you're holding my devotee Vishnu Jasha for stealing that pot, but I gave him that pot. It's my pot, I gave it to him. I wanted my devotee to have it. So please release him. And the next morning they come and, he's brought before the judge, and the judge says, yes, you're free to go. He said, what? Well, couldn't. And he said, and he told him, yes, the Lord appeared in my dream and told me that it is his pot and that he wanted you to have it. and therefore I'm to release you. So you're released. Then, and when he understood that Lord Ranganath had given that pot to him, then he could understand, like, how merciful is the Lord. That even I was so addicted to like sinful life, and I wanted that sinful life so much, but I couldn't raise the money to pay for that. That my own Lord gave me the means by which I could do that. And suddenly the spell was broken. He didn't want to be with that girl anymore. He became overwhelmed with this feeling of the grace of the Lord upon him. And he returned to Sri Rangam and took up his service again there, and, as they say, lived happily ever after as the servant of the Lord. So, sometimes the Lord brings us around in a convoluted way, some way that we may not expect. And how merciful is that Lord, that even when we want to do something sinful, man proposes and God disposes. But whatever the Lord does, it has some beautiful connection with him to bring us back to his service. Like, when Narad cursed those sons of Kubera to become trees in Vrindavan, in Nanda Maharaj's courtyard, the Jamal Arjun trees, and Krishna pulled those trees down with the grinding mortar that was tied to his waist, and they were released after a long time there, and became liberated by Krishna's grace. And there, Srila Prabhupada, when he writes about that in the purport, he says, even the curse of a Vaishnava is always good for us. Any connection with Krishna and his devotee is always good for us. Even that curse, what a terrible curse to become trees, but not ordinary trees in the courtyard of Nanda Maharaj. So, Narad, being a devotee, always wants the best for everyone. So in the same way, Krishna always wants to give us some good, some real goodness in our life. If we have even a small spark of interest in his service. That's why, it's said, Guru Maharaj says in his Prapana Jivanamritam, he's quoting Ramchandra, when Vibhishana came to surrender to Ram, and everybody was suspicious of him, because he's Ravan's brother, right? Vibhishana is Ravan's brother. And then they're telling, Sugriva and Hanuman, even Lakshman, they're all saying, he's like a spy from the enemy camp, you shouldn't trust him. You shouldn't accept him. It's not possible. And Ram said, in this verse Guru Maharaj quotes in Prapana Jivanamrita, if anyone ever says to me, even once, that Lord, I am yours, then I give them my protection and fearlessness for all time to come. Just once. And Vibhishana came and surrendered himself to Ram. I am yours, my Lord. Then, that mustn't just be lip deep. Oh yes, I'm yours, but I've got to go now because the FIFA World Cup's on. I've got to get home to watch that. No, I am yours means what? Like, engage me now, do something for me, make me yours. I want that. I may be unqualified, I may be rotten to the core, but I am yours, however I am. And the Lord will accept, mercifully he will accept, because that's why he created us, right? He created us for a life of service with him, and not just servitude in the mundane sense, like that we be slaves, and just at the whim of that Lord. We will, but when the Lord is love and beauty personified, then what harm? Even, you know, in this world, people say that, don't they? There's a famous song by Roxy Music. We're a slave to love. I'm a slave to love. People want that. Was that another song? I just remember all these songs, you know. Bill Withers makes that song, you know. If it feels this good being used, then keep on using me till you use me up. So, of course, it's a mundane statement. Meant, you know, he's talking about some girl that his friends are saying that she's using him. But that ideal, you see, that for love, we don't mind to be used for love, because there's not one iota of malice in the nature of Lord Krishna. Only goodness, only beauty, only sympathy, only harmony, only goodness he wants to give to us. Then we can be his slave. That would be the greatest thing. Saraswati Thakur, when he was criticized, the Gaudiya Mott, they are preaching slave mentality, and we should all be slaves. Then and Saraswati Thakur said, slavery to the absolute Lord is the highest dignity of the human race. Represents the highest dignity of the human race. We don't mind that. We're afraid of the word slavery, you know, when we see like the plight of slaves in this material world. A terrible thing. But when your master is love himself, happiness himself, beauty, mercy, then why not? We can do that. As Guru Maharaj says, we're afraid to give anybody like that autocratic position. Because, you know, as they say, power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely. And that's true in this material world, but it is not true in the case of Lord Krishna. He is the absolute, the infinite. And if you allow that he will have that absolute dominion over everyone, then only we will benefit from that. We won't suffer as a slave in this material world. Guru Maharaj gives the example of when a sultan came to London as a guest from he's the king of his country, and he came as a guest of the British government, and so as part of his reception, they took him to the Tower of London. I took Gurudev to the Tower of London. We didn't go in. We went in the car one day. When Gurudev was here one day, he says, in the afternoon, I came to see him, and he says, "Have you got your car here?" I said, "Yes, Maharaj." He said, "Okay, let's go." And so he just wanted to go somewhere, so we went out in the car, and I'm just driving him around, and part of that, we went over Tower Bridge, driving over Tower Bridge, and his servant was Bimalananda. You remember Bimalananda, his koka. So he's sitting in the back, and Gurudev's sitting next to me in the front, and we're going over, and I said, "Oh, that's the Tower of London." And he says, "Oh, okay." And so I'm telling him, that they're down by the river, that it's called Traitor's Gate. They would bring those who were committed treason there, and famously Mary Queen of Scots, she was beheaded there in the Tower of London. I'm telling Gurudev this, and he's repeating in Bengali to Bimalananda, and I can't remember it, but I remember him saying, "Rajmata ho gya." He's telling and Bimalananda's eyes become big. "Ah, really?" Yeah. He's just telling like that. Anyway, so Guru Maharaj tells how this sultan, he was taken to the Tower of London, and they're showing him where they used to behead the traitors, and they got maybe they got the guillotine there or something that would do that, and he says, "Oh, I want to see how it works." And then the man who was taking it said, "Oh no, we don't do that anymore. You know, He said, no, you can bring some criminal, and I want to see how the guillotine chops his head off." And he said, "No, we don't have the death penalty anymore." And he says, "Don't worry, we'll just bring one of my men, and you can cut his head off. I'll bring my own servant. We can." And they said, "Oh, Your Majesty, I'm very sorry, but not even your servant. We can't do that. It's against our principles." Then that sultan, he was highly insulted, insulted sultan. He said, "Then you do not know what is the position of a king. A king means for my entertainment, I can have someone's head cut off just at a whim if I want to. That's what it means to be a king, an autocrat." But when we hear that, we think, "Oh dear, no, we don't like that. We don't like to give somebody that kind of power. Just on a whim, they'll just do that for kicks, basically, just because he wants to see how it works. They could have put a watermelon in there instead or something and shown him, but he wants to actually see the thing. Mr. Vyas knows that, Idi Amin, he was like that, right? That was his thing. He used to get the native girls would come there, and they would, he would party with them, and then he'd have them killed, and he would cooked, and he would eat them. He was a cannibal,
Whenever I used to like a girl, he used to see me after. Terrible.
So you had to do your best not to catch his eye, just in case. So
The command, the king.
Yeah.
You come to me.
So anyway, this is these kind of things people exist in the world, and we hate that, we abhor that. It makes us feel it makes us feel nauseous, outrage to think that somebody would do that to another human being just for a laugh, basically, just for entertainment. But the Guru Maharaj is making this point that we don't like to give anybody that position as an autocrat. But if Krishna will be an autocrat, and he is, then no harm. Because he will never do anything bad to anybody. Even his, you can say, bad behavior is good behavior. When Krishna is a thief, he steals, he lies, he cheats, he does so many things, but the devotees glorify him for that. They love that. They want to see that. They sing about that. They call Krishna Makhan Chor, right? The butter thief. It's one of the most delightful pastimes of Lord Krishna. Everybody sings about his glories as the Makhan Chor, or as we are singing this every day. In here what is it? Gopi, Gopi Paranadana, and anyway, it means he steals the clothes of the cowherd girls.
One day I was driving Gurudev, I was putting the Anup Chalota song, Main Mahakhan, and Gurudev tried to sing it, and I gently laughed at Gurudev. I said, "Yes, I believe you, Maharaj."
So we are.
His favorite, Main Mahakhan. Then I put some Jagat Singh song. He said, "This guy went to thief, he went in a prison." Oh, Maharaj.
Yes.
Okay. Good, they used to enjoy good bhajans.
So we are happy if Krishna will take that position as an autocrat, the transcendental autocrat, that just for a whim, he can do anything. Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, on your whim, you can make me or mar me, whichever you like. You can embrace me or you can kill me. It's okay. It's the same. And Srila Govinda Maharaj said, in the spiritual world, Krishna is taking an apple from a tree and eating that, and apple is was very happy to be eaten by Krishna. That's the nature of the spiritual world. Who is being exploited by Krishna, we can say, they are feeling more happiness to be exploited by Krishna. Take me, take me. All the apples are calling, take me, take me. Oh, look, he took him. Oh, took that apple. Next time, take me. Next time, take me.
All apple are surrender soul.
Yes. So this is a different category of autocrat. Krishna is the transcendental autocrat, but we are happy for that he will enjoy something that we can provide, some even small enjoyment, fulfillment to Krishna. We should be willing to sacrifice ourselves for that if necessary. And that's okay, that's fine. But Srila Guru Maharaj would say, to die for the cause is no doubt noble and good, but better to live for the cause. To live for the cause is better than to die for the cause. But we have to have something in our life worth living for, and if necessary, worth dying for. This is what they said, right? When the Islamic terrorists, they'll probably get this barred on the Facebook now. That's what they do, don't they? Have an algorithm that if you say something which may be a bit controversial, then they block it. Goswami Maharaj told me that one of his talks, he mentioned something about Islam in there, and in 86 countries his talk was barred. Just because the algorithm found that, like a statement in there that they consider might be offensive to some people. This is how we live nowadays. But anyway, when they drove the planes into the two towers, then some intelligent person remarked, we can never beat them because they're willing to die for what they believe. So they've already won. So in other words, if you're not prepared to die for what you believe, then where is your conviction? But we should be at least prepared to live for what we believe. We should be prepared to live for that. And unashamedly. I was going to say proudly, but no, we're not proud. No, not pride. Pride, Krishna doesn't like pride, but we should be unashamed about that. We shouldn't hide it, Oh, I have to go to work, so I should cut off my shika so they can't see that I'm a devotee of Krishna, or hide my neck bead so they don't see I'm a devotee. No, we should be unashamed about that. Why should we be ashamed? Then we should try to give something of ourselves. As Guru Maharaj, of course, whenever we reference Guru Maharaj, we have to first of all understand that he is a Param Vaishnava, and we are not of the same category. But we are his followers. So if we are his followers, then we must try to learn by his example. And he would say, sacrifice is joy. That was his motto, that we will sacrifice ourselves for the higher good. And then that echoes what Srila Prabhupada said. Just try and give this life, this one life for Krishna. You have nothing else to aspire for in this world. Only the satisfaction of Hari, Guru and Vaishnava. If you try to do that, even if you fail to do that, in your attempt to do that, you will find your proper engagement in life. You will find that you are, as Guru Maharaj would say, that you are awake in another plane. That this region where we are now, where everyone is trying to be the master of all they survey, and because of that they're always in conflict with one another, you'll wake up and find you're not part of that anymore. You're part of another plane of life, where everyone wants to be a servant a servant of the servant of the servant. Not just like as a poetic or, hyperbole kind of statement, but as a reality. The servant of the servant of the servant. And Guru Maharaj would say, even in his last days, he would say, I consider myself as a student still. I don't consider myself as a finished professor. I consider myself as a student. Then what will we say? We are only students. We are only trying to aspire to serve them. We know they are the real devotees. And if we can do something to try to satisfy them, to try to serve them, even in a little way, then our life will be perfect. Not necessary for anything else. Serve a Vaishnava with your heart and soul as much as you are able, and pray that like that. How much I love my sense pleasure now, let me love you as much as I love that. As much as I love my family and my society and my everything in this material world, let me love you at least as much as that. Is it so much to ask for? Because that will all be gone one day. All the things, all the people that you think, they're all, as Srila Prabhupada would say, fallible soldiers. They can't help you actually, ultimately. Only Guru and Vaishnava can help you. Then you can help yourself and you can help others also. This is our prospect. And therefore, then as that will develop naturally, we will see. So, just finally going back to Darkesh Prabhu's question. Yeah, we can't say that we have deep attachment for the Vaishnavas like Srila Guru Maharaj had. But never forget that one day we may be bereft of the company of the Vaishnavas and all alone. Then we will see. Then what will that mean to us? Will we just run away and hide somewhere? Or will we try to carry on with their good grace and their memory? And Srila Guru Maharaj said, if you meditate on somebody in the right way, you can have their association wherever you are and wherever they are. Even if they are not physically present in the world, you can connect with them if you understand the proper way to do that. Then we will see, Srila Guru Maharaj said, we will see, the test will come, how much you've accepted this creed in your heart, just outwardly, just lip deep, or substantially. So substantially means, that then when everything is easy and convenient, we can happily go along, But when things are difficult and inconvenient, then the test will come. The test of a man is not like how he behaves in times of comfort and convenience, but how he behaves when the going gets tough. When the going gets tough, the tough get going. We have to try. We have to look within ourselves and try to understand, what did I come for? What have I come for? And how much have I received that from my Guru, from the Vaishnavas? How much have I received that thing? How much can I continue in this line? And that will be the real test. So we pray that without that calamity will not come upon us, that we find ourselves bereft of the association of the Vaishnavas. The Vaishnavas are everything to us. And especially we want the association of those substantial Vaishnavas who will bring us closer to Krishna, who are the actual servitors of Krishna, and then we can try to assist them in some small way. That's all we need, actually. That's all we need. That they will accept our attempt. If they will accept our attempt, then we will be firmly situated. Srila Gurudev said we just have to hold on to the one part of Guru Maharaj's dhoti, and where he's going, we will also go. Very heartbreaking. If you've heard that poem of Gurudev, in separation of Guru Maharaj, he's saying there, at the end of each verse, he says, please don't forget your boy. You left your boy behind. Don't forget your boy. I always feel to cry when I hear that. But it's real and heartfelt. You went wherever you are going to. I cannot see that. But you left your boy. I am your boy. So we want that kind of relationship with our spiritual master, with the Vaishnavas. That I am your boy. Don't forget me. Please don't forget me. And Srila Gurudev's nature is always so super accommodating to everyone. As much as they will stay holding on to his lotus feet, that much wherever he will go, they will go with him. So we are praying for that. Wherever in the service world he is, with his master, we hope that he will not forget us, and that he will take us with him when the time is right. That way we have no fear. There's more important things in the world than just living here in the material world. That is a nothing thing. That's something that we can't avoid, isn't it? We're here. It's very difficult for us to avoid that. Just whatever, every day we wake up, oh, here I am. I'm still here in this material world. But that's okay, because we have some duty in this material world for the service of Guru Maharaj, for the service of Gurudev. We have some duty for that. Then, as long as he wishes to engage me, we can answer his call. That just now when I was in Thailand and I asked Bhakti Sudhir Goswami Maharaj, I said, if I don't ask you, the devotees will be upset with me. So I already took a piece of straw, found a piece of straw in the land there, and I put it between my teeth, and I bowed down. I said, please come to London, Maharaj, and see us in London. And I said, I already know what your answer will be, but I have to ask. Because the devotees will say, did you ask? And if I say, no, I didn't, then... And his reply was, I've finished with traveling around the world, but maybe Krishna isn't finished with me. And if Krishna wants that I will go to London, I will have to accept. So I took that as a good sign. Let's wait and see. So anyway, so let's stop here today and try to remember the greatness of the Vaishnavas, and let's try to follow in their footsteps. Then our life will be successful, not measured by what we have or don't have in this world, but what we have in that world. That will be the measure of our success in this life. How we can serve Hari, Guru and Vaishnava. Jai Vishnupad, Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj. Jai. Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Bhagavan Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur ki jai. Sri Chaitanya Saraswata Acharya Brinda ki jai. Samadvaita Vaishnava Mandali ki jai. Sri Harinama Sankirtan ki jai. Nitai Gaura Premanand.